$150 per time, or $30 a year up front. Obviously, this is an invisible tax. How bad can this get? Where will it spread, not spread to? How to stop it, how to avoid? Will high net worth counties per immune, or is there nowhere to hide? You know.
Well, what city was that in?
Lodi, California.
Lodi.
Lodi.
The figure was $300.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, not 150.
Yeah, I thought it was 300 too.
I have a photographic memory, and I don't miss much. And if I'm missing, it's because I'm tired. Because I did Dr. Stan last night.
I did Dr. Stan last night.
I do him twice on Monday.
Were you there too last night?
No, I'm just teasing you.
No.
And your time schedule is worse than mine.
Oh, I know. That really makes it a late night, midnight and 1 o'clock for me.
That's why they call her Miss Snowflake.
Yes. But it is true, Bob. I mean, look at all these little funds and fees they're going to be paying. Even where I live, I receive things for which I never have before, for the emergency vehicles and so forth. They want to charge you $50 a year. And if you don't pay it and you have an emergency, you're going to be last on their list.
Well, how about the people who can't afford to pay?
I know.
What do? Stay at home and die?
Yep.
What kind of a thing is that?
One way to eliminate the population.
That's dreadful.
It is. It's horrible.
Just awful. We get another question. I get two of them now. Judy just handed me one. Fresh off. But, I find that very, very, very discriminatory against the old and the poor. There's got to be other ways they can raise taxes. That is not a good way.
They should raise, you're right. They have to do what you said. They won't do, and that's cut.
That's where that's the secret is. And so they said, well, we'll have more unemployed. Well, so what? I know it's awful, but, you are the people, you're the bureaucrats, and these councils and city managers and local politicians who are incompetent. You caused this. So why should the poor and the old people have to pay? It's just like Iceland. The banks in Iceland didn't lend on the fractional banking system 8 or 10 to 1. It was 70. Now, the people in Iceland don't own those banks. They belong to shareholders or they're private. Those banks had offices in London or England and the Netherlands. So when they went under, the depositors lost their money. And those two countries are insisting that the people of Iceland pay it back. And they're going to have a referendum shortly. And they're going to vote it down. And they should vote it down. Why should they pay? Let the bankers pay for it. They're the ones that did it. Same thing. Look at TARP, FARP, DARP, and LOP. All these programs by the Federal Reserve and the Treasury with our money. We have to pay back if they make a mistake. And all that money went to the financial community so they could stay in business.
Yeah,
nobody's paying to have some little old man or little old lady who's 84 carted off to the hospital as they die in their home because they can't pay the $300.
It is horrible.
And I'm sure they don't accept checks.
I saw how AIG, with all the money funneled to them, still have, a $9 billion loss or $6 billion or something like that.
And that's hiding most of their loss.
Yeah.
It's been a rocky road for the last 2.5 years, and we predicted it all. And I'm unhappy that we did, because it's dreadful. And it's going to get worse. much, much worse. And these people talking about a recovery, they don't know what they're talking about. Richard Russell came on CNBC today and said the market's going on the Dow 6,500. It's going to retrace the rally in the bear market. And he thinks that it could go down to 1,000. How's that? You know how much money will be left in your retirement plan if you don't have gold and silver coins and shares? It may be 20 or 30 cents on the dollar. If you're lucky. It's probably more like 10 or 15 or 20. This is where this is all heading. And again, you know, I don't like to make the proclamations, but I've been right. His hand's on my shoulder. That's all I can tell you. So that's where we're headed. This message is from Andreas. And the discount gold and silver trading. This gentleman has been listening to our interviews for the last 4 years. And says the property market is still going very strong in downtown Toronto with multiple bids and bidding wars with unconditional offers. Questions for you. Wiki has a small section on gold. All the gold that has ever been mined in history up to the year 2009 is around 161,000 tons, equivalent to 120.28 meter cube. Is that correct? And I think it's approximately correct. I don't know what the number is, but it's large. And, you know, that gold has been widely dispersed, so there are big holders, but not in those kind of numbers. Number two, is this correct? Decline in sales value in residential real estate, plus this decline in sales value in commercial real estate, plus declining inventory in big box stores, plus declining consumer credit card debit, plus decline in municipal and state tax income and chronic high unemployment, deflation. And the answer is, it is deflation. And up until just recently, the Fed and the Treasury have been able to squelch inflation. And they've done it by creating money and credit. We all know about that. And the money and credit and monetization of money is starting to end. We just saw over the past 9 months to a year, the European Central Bank dropped the amount of money and credit they create from 12.8% increase to a minus 0.8. That's 0.8%. These figures are in the forecast. I think the issue before last. I lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you get tired. What was I talking about, Melanie? The percentage in reduction of money and credit. And England dropped theirs from 14.5% down to about 3 or 4%, and the U.S. from 17.4 to down to about 3 or 4%. Now, you're playing a very dangerous game under the circumstances which we are operating at right now by reducing that money in credit. And they've just raised interest rates 0.5% from the Fed to the banks, the discount rate. And that doesn't mean very much at the moment. And so it's not an important fact. But what is a continued government spending. And I think what's going to happen here is they're going to allow sometime in the next year and a half to 2 years, the central banks and the government banks in different countries